Tinea versicolor is a superficial fungal infection characterized by hypo or hyperpigmented macules. It's caused by malassezia. The most famous one is furfur. It is a dimorphic organism, commensal and parasite. There is a predisposition factor convert this organism from commensal to parasitic one. Genetic predisposition, low immunity, corticosteroid, Cushing syndrome, all causes increased yeast growth. Humidity and warmth, hyperhidrosis, increase in sweating. This initiate biofilm production and always associated with hyperchromic lesions. Adding oils and oily cream application, it is like a substrate for yeast development, like as it is a lipophilic one. Sunlight modifies the fungus metabolism and increases azelaic acid production. Malnutrition also has a role. Malassezia is a dimorphic mycelia, which is commensal, yeast, which is parasitic, spores and ivy, budding, etc. The commensal one start after birth as first contact with the skin of the baby with a carrier who has a fungus and present with lifelong till this. The parasitic one is lipophilic, so here we have to add the cholesterol to the media. It colonizes in puberty due to increased sebum activity. It is restricted to seborrheic areas, and it is restricted to stratum corneum. This leads to bypass immune detection, so no triggering to the innate immunity. It metabolizes triglycerides, which is about 30 to 50% in the sebum by lipase, which is harmful to the cell membrane. It increases free fatty acids, which is saturated and unsaturated and saturated. The unsaturated, like arachidonic acid, initiate inflammation. The saturated one increase the malassezia proliferation. And from one of them is azelaic acid, which inhibits tyrosinase enzyme and leads to hypopigmented macule. The, the yeast has lipid-rich microfibril layer surrounding it, which decrease inflammatory cytokines released by keratinocytes. This leads to the more the yeast is lipid, the more reproduction, the less inflammation, and vice versa. Tinea versicolor, not inflammatory type of disease, but due to high quantities of yeast and their metabolites, it can induce the fine desquamation, which you can notice it on the lesions. It has three color type. We can find one or two coexist. Brown type is due to enlarged melanosomes in melanocytes, thick stratum corneum, hyperemia in response to infection. White type due to sun exposure, which stimulates azelaic acid, which diffuse and inhibit tyrosinase enzyme, or damage to melanocytes. This explains why repigmentation takes months to years after treatment, or melanosomes become small in size and number both. There is a doubt in this theory, which means the blocking of ultraviolet rays by the lipid material accumulated in stratum corneum from yeast and its metabolites. But this doesn't explain the disease in non-sun exposed areas. The pink type is inflamed due to have dermatitis induced by malassezia and its metabolites and can be imposed or coexist with seborrheic dermatitis. Malassezia have a role in both disease. Clinical types. There is a classic type which starts as macules and coalesces to patches. Macules are many, well marginated in contrast to Pityriasis alba. Final scales, dust-like, oval or round, found at trunk, chest, proximal part. When it come a patch, it become irregular. There is a pigmentary alteration, darker or lighter, white, reddish, brown, variation of colors. It failed to tint in summer. There is defect in pigmentation. When scraping, there is amount of keratin released by this scraping. This is keratin material induced by uh, pathogenesis of the fungus. The first type found in flexual regions, the face extremities. It found immunocompromised, differential diagnosis, candidiasis, inverse psoriasis, erythrasma, seborrheic dermatitis, and dermatophyte infection. There is also inflammatory type, which is pink type, papules, it's monomorphic, red-brown, firm in trunk, asymptomatic. Inflammatory has interface dermatitis in superficial dermis plus fungus. Maybe or maybe not. We can find the scales. The three types are superficial. This follicular type is deep one. It is fungal folliculitis or Petrisporum folliculitis, which is deep follicular infection, papule or pustule, perifollicular erythematous, itchy. This is the key of diagnosis. And so we will have scratching signs found in back and chest and extremities. Differential diagnosis bacterial, and we can differ from them by itching. Differential diagnosis: epidermal dysplasia verruciformis, which is a flat wart-like. It's a genetic disease. Pink to violet, hypopigmented or hyperpigmented, lifelong and resistant to treatment. Erythrasma, well-defined, pink-brown patch, fine scaling and superficial fissures. There is mild itching and it found in folds. Gutted psoriasis preceded by upper respiratory tract infection. Small scaly plaques have silver scales found in most of the bodies. Pityriasis alba is irregular, round, and oval. At first, it is have elevated border and slightly erythematous. Then it turned to macule or patch covered by powdery white scales, more fine than that of tinea versicolor. Then it becomes smooth, hypopigmented macule with no distinct border, in contrast to tinea versicolor. It is associated with cirrhosis. There is a type which is pigmented pityriasis alba associated with superficial fungal infection due to defect in innate immunity. We can from them by QH. Seborrheic dermatitis can coexist with the pink type, has greater scale in seborrheic area. Tinea corporis has an active edge with crustacean and vesicles and elevated border with central healing. QH can distinguish from the both organisms. Conflict and reticulated papillomatosis, which is genetic disease, chronic exacerbation and remission. It's wart-like bumps, gray patch with net-like pattern on each. Vitiligo has no scales, and this is against the universe color. It's milk white. Diagnosis with lamp showing yellow green florence, QH showing hyphae, budding, and specific picture with spaghetti and meatballs. Fungal culture is negative, difficult to grow yeast in lab. It needs cholesterol in the medium to grow because it is lipophilic. Skin biopsy showing a fungal element in stratum corneum and interface dermatitis. Treatment: we should inform patients that it is not infectious disease. It is commensal on his skin, and the skin color will take time to come back to normal. He should do exercise to induce sweating to can deliver the treatment to the skin. Avoid bathing a few hours after that. There is treatment topical and systemic. Topical like selenium sulfide, or topical azoles, antifungal. 10 minutes and washed off for 2 weeks. In resistant case, overnight application. Topical azoles every night for 2 weeks, weekly to prevent the recurrence, in form of creams or shampoos. Systemic antifungal, if the area is extensive, if the topical failed to convince the patient, the less consuming the topical treatment. Fluconazole single dose weekly for 2 and 4 weeks, or itraconazole 200 milligram for 7 days, abamectinazole 200 milligram per day for 2 days. For recurrent case, we can use topical antifungal weekly to prevent recurrence, or antifungal shampoos 1 or 3 days each month.